Once upon a time in the land of Israel, there lived a great prophet named Elisha. He was a devoted disciple of the renowned prophet Elijah. Their story began when a young Elisha was plowing his father's fields near the town of Abel-Meholah. One day Elijah appeared and called upon Elisha to follow him. Without hesitation, Elisha became Elijah's faithful assistant, learning the ways of God and the responsibilities of a prophet. Elijah's journey would come to a dramatic end when he was taken up to heaven in a whirlwind, accompanied by a fiery chariot. Elisha witnessed this miraculous sight and cried out, my father, the chariot of Israel." He tore his clothes in mourning and understood that he was now tasked with carrying on Elijah's mission. When Elijah ascended, he left behind his mantle, a significant token of his prophetic authority. To cross the Jordan River, Elisha struck the water with the mantle, and miraculously the waters parted, allowing him to walk on dry ground. The group of young prophets who saw this knew that Elisha had taken Elijah's place as their leader. Soon after, the people of Jericho came to Elisha with a pressing concern. They complained about their bad water, which was making both people and livestock sick and causing the land to suffer. Elisha, eager to help, asked for a new bowl filled with salt. He went to the spring, sprinkled the salt into the water, and proclaimed that God had healed it. From that moment on, the water was pure and safe, and the people rejoiced and praised God for Elisha's miracle. However, not all received Elisha with respect. As he traveled towards Bethel, a group of young men mocked him, showing their disdain. They insulted him, which stemmed from their anger at the loss of their business when Elisha had cleansed the water. Enraged by their lack of respect, Elisha cursed them, and a bear came out of the forest, attacking and killing 42 of the youths. This taught a harsh lesson about the consequences of disrespecting God's chosen messenger. The reputation of Elisha grew as people continued to witness his divine powers. Eventually, 3 kings from Israel and Judah sought his help in a military dilemma with the Moabites. The Moabites had rebelled and threatened Israel after the death of King Ahab. King Jehoram of Israel sought out King Jehoshaphat of Judah, and together they marched to confront the Moabites. However, they soon found themselves in dire straits, running out of water in the desert. Remembering Elisha's miracles, the kings approached him. Although he was displeased with Jehoram's idolatry, he agreed to help for the sake of King Jehoshaphat. Elisha instructed them to dig ditches, promising that they would be filled with water without any signs of rain. The kings did as instructed, and just as Elisha foretold, the ditches filled with pure water, and the Israelites were victorious over the Moabites. In another remarkable episode, a widow came to Elisha for help. Her husband, the prophet Obadiah, had died, leaving their family in debt. Elisha, concerned for her welfare, asked what she had home. She replied that she only had a small pot of oil. He instructed her to borrow empty vessels from her neighbors and fill them with oil. Miraculously, the oil continued to flow until all the vessels were full. When she sold the oil, she was able to pay off her husband's debts and support her family. Elisha also met a kind Shunammite couple during his travels. They showed him great hospitality, ensuring he had food and a place to rest whenever he passed through their town. Grateful for their kindness, Elisha wanted to reward them. He learned that they were childless and promised them a son within a year. When this child was born, they rejoiced. Years later, when the boy was growing, he fell ill in the field while working with his father. Tragically, he died in his mother's arms. Devastated, she laid him on Elisha's bed and went to seek help from the prophet. Elisha sent his servant, Gehazi, with his staff to lay upon the boy. But it did not work because Gehazi did not follow the instructions correctly. Elisha himself then went to the boy. After shutting the door, he prayed to God and laid upon the child, reviving him from death. The joy that filled the Shunammite woman's heart was immeasurable as she received her son back alive. During a time of famine in Israel, Elisha continued to teach and guide the people. One day, A young prophet prepared a meal but accidentally gathered poisonous gourds. When they ate the stew, they panicked, fearing they would die. Elisha quickly added flour to the pot, making it safe, and they could eat without harm. Another miracle occurred when a man brought Elisha 20 loaves of barley and ears of corn. Elisha instructed his servant to distribute the food to the gathered prophets. Despite the seemingly insufficient amount, Elisha assured him that it would be enough. Miraculously, all ate to their fill, and leftovers remained, illustrating the abundance of God's provision through Elisha's ministry. Elisha's fame and kindness spread widely, and his prophetic school became a gathering place for those seeking to learn about God. One day, while accompanying them to the Jordan River to expand their quarters, one of the young prophets lost a borrowed axe head in the river. Amazingly, the axe head floated to the surface, and the young man retrieved it, demonstrating Elisha's compassion for even small troubles. As time wore on, Elisha faced many battles alongside his people who were suffering from the siege and destruction at the hands of the Syrians. The people, warned by Elisha, continued in their ways and faced the consequences of famine and strife. Nevertheless, Elisha remained a steadfast leader, reminding them of God's protection if only they would return to him. In one significant moment, King Joash of Israel came to visit Elisha when the prophet was ill. As he wept, he proclaimed, my father, the chariot and horsemen of Israel." This reflected the people's reliance on Elisha, seeing him as their strength above military might. Elisha's final prophecy was one of hope. He assured King Joash that Israel would defeat Syria 3 times, foretelling a restoration of peace and prosperity after years of turmoil. Elisha's life and ministry not only brought miraculous acts of kindness, but also served as a powerful reminder of faith in God. As he passed away, the legacy of his prophecies and miracles continued to inspire future generations. The story of Elisha, marked by compassion and divine intervention, encourages all to trust in God's provisions and to honor those who serve with sincerity. Reflect thoughtfully on Elisha's journey and the challenges he faced. Consider how these lessons can resonate with your own experiences. Engaging with these stories deepens our understanding of faith, community, and providence. So, as we reflect upon Elisha's life, may we also strive to learn, grow, and support one another, just as he did.